Roronoa Zoro was born in the East Blue to Tera and Roronoa Arashi, descendants of the Shimotsuki Family, a clan descended from the land of Wano, also the founders of the village Zoro grew up in. It was a man named Shimotsuki Kozaburo that departed illegally from the land of Wano and settled in the East Blue and established a dojo there as well. By the time Zoro was 8 years old, his father had already been killed in a battle against pirates threatening the village, and his mother died of illness, leaving the young Roronoa orphaned. This did not stop Zoro from honing his technique and constantly training to be a swordsman. Shimotsuki Kozaburo's son, Kushiro, was head of the dojo when Zoro was still a kid, but tiny little Zoro had a pair so big they could barely fit in his pants. One day, in a quest to become stronger, Zoro showed up at the dojo and challenged the strongest samurai there. There was one person he couldn't beat though, and that was Kuina, the daughter of the dojo master. She became Zoro's brick wall. This boy could not defeat her no matter how many times he tried. Over and over again, he'd get smacked. During one training session, Zoro would meet Kuina's grandfather, Shimotsuki Kozaburo, and he was gifted with a pair of swords to aid in his practice. After their 2,000 fights, all of which Zoro lost by the way, his pride absolutely taking beatings, this spurred him to challenge Kuina to one more match. But this time, they would be using real swords. Make no mistake, Zoro was no pushover and he had only gotten stronger over time, but he remained no match for his rival. Zoro ended up defeated once more and he cried in frustration, telling Kuina about his dream of becoming the world's greatest swordsman. Kuina felt that. She confided in Zoro, telling him that she also wanted to be the greatest, but she could never attain that dream because her father told her that women could never be true swordsmasters. Zoro, annoyed by the fact that she was willing to just agree with the words of her father despite smacking him over 2,000 times, told her that one day he would beat her not because she was a girl, but because of his skill. The two made a promise. One of them was going to become the world's strongest swordsman. The next day, however, tragedy struck. Kuina suffered a fatal fall down the stairs of her dojo, much to Zoro's anger and disappointment at the fragility of human beings and the fact that she would never have a chance to fulfill her dream. So Zoro asked Kushiro for her sword, Wado Ichimonji, so he could become the most powerful swordsman on her behalf as well. From there, he developed his famous and incredibly badass 3-sword style, Santoryu. Zoro would eventually learn of Dracul, Hawkeye Mihawk, who held the title of the greatest swordsman in the world, so he set off to the sea, searching for him to challenge him in a duel. However, in a truly Zoro fashion, he got lost and couldn't even find his way back home. Destitute and trying not to starve to death, Zoro would have to rely on his sword skill and take on bounties to pay for living. This is how he got the infamous reputation as the pirate hunter, Roronoa Zoro. He was so skilled, in fact, that he was considered the greatest swordsman in the East Blue. Pirates were legit shaking in their boots when they met this man. His reputation had Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, looking to recruit him. He sent one of his men, Mr. 7, on a mission to recruit Zoro, but Zoro refused and told them that he would only join the organization if he was allowed to become its leader. Damn. Combat eventually ensued between Zoro and Mr. 7, which technically was self-defense on Zoro's side, and the pirate hunter would claim another victim. Zoro's journey would eventually continue and he would arrive in Shell's Town. This is where he would meet the man that would become the Pirate King, Monkey D. Luffy. But for now, Zoro is in the middle of confronting Helmeppo, the spoiled son of the corrupted marine captain Axehand Morgan. Helmeppo, the sniveling little turd, released his pet wolf in town and it attempted to attack a little girl named Rika. But Zoro saved her by killing it. At least that's the way Rika tells it. It seems Helmeppo told Zoro to agree to be tied up to a pole for like a month to gain amnesty and preserve his reputation in the Marine's eyes. After getting tied to a pole, Koby and Monkey D. Luffy would arrive in town with Luffy looking for his first crew member. They eventually arrived where Zoro was being held just in time to witness Rika trying to feed him some onigiri, which Zoro refused. After all, if she was caught there, she would be in some serious trouble. There was a sign. There was a sign telling people not to feed Zoro, basically. The food ended up getting stomped on by the human stain Helmeppo because apparently it was sweet and onigiri is supposed to be salty, and also he's a massive bully. After they left, Zoro and Luffy would meet and they would converse. Luffy asked him to join his crew, but Zoro turned him down, refusing to become a pirate. But the man was starving, so he asked Luffy to feed him the dirty onigiri and tell Rika that the food was delicious. Luffy would go on to learn the details of Zoro's capture from Rika, and this only made him want Zoro to join his crew even more. Luffy would also learn that Helmeppo planned on executing him in 3 days, prompting him to land a very well-deserved punch for breaking his promise. This sent Helmeppo scurrying with his tail between his legs to his father, seeking revenge. Assuming that Zoro would join his pirate crew if he got his swords back, Luffy headed off to the marine base to do just that. Meanwhile, Koby explained the situation to Zoro while trying to untie him. Luffy came back just in time to save them from a firing squad, refusing to let his journey come to an end right there. Zoro accepted Luffy's invitation and showed off his incredible fighting technique and his desire to become the greatest swordsman in the world, which Luffy was unsurprisingly completely on board with. After all, the Pirate King should only have the best in his crew. Luffy would then proceed to absolutely trounce Morgan, and when Helmeppo, the little coward, threatened to kill Koby, Luffy would knock him out while Zoro took down Morgan with a single slash. The Marines, seeing their tyrant leader finally defeated, rejoiced and allowed Luffy and Zoro to go free. But since they were pirates, they couldn't stay on the island. Although they promised not to report them to headquarters, Koby would stay behind and join the Marines. Zoro would become the first member of the Straw Hat Pirates, and he would go on to sail the world looking to achieve his dream of becoming the greatest swordsman ever. That was the origin story of Roronoa Zoro, and if you enjoy that, please do leave a like and subscribe because we've got a lot more coming, and leave a comment who you think we should cover next. Alright, till then, see ya.